Generational hoarding and its impact. What a tough subject, but I'm really glad that we're going to have this conversation today. It's interesting when you start looking at the stuff we amass over the course of our lives and how does it affect our families around us. So the first thing that I want to mention when we're talking about kids and teenagers is if they come from a home that is super cluttered or is okay with hoarding, a lot of times there are situations in the home that are less than desirable. And I say that in a sense from a hygiene perspective. It's really hard to go in and clean the shower, for example, and make it nice and sparkly and shiny if you're tripping over stuff to get inside the bathroom, right? Just finding the floor to get in there is the big deal. And so when you take a shower, then instead of you hopping into a place with nice hot water and it's a clean, sanitary shower, and you're having this moment of solitude and like, hey, I'm doing something nice for myself. And I love the hot steam that's coming from the shower and the hot water, and I just feel refreshed and clean. What happens is you're dodging the pink slime on the bottom of the shower and maybe mold, and maybe there's some soap scum on the sides of the shower walls, and so that becomes the new normal and that becomes okay. And so even though our kids and grandkids are taking showers, what happens then is that environment is their new norm and they get used to that. Well, it's grimy, but it's my grime, right? And so they say that's how we live here. And that becomes okay. And then what happens is when they go out to become adults in their own world, they have a tendency to repeat those behaviors. Just like when kids grow up in a hoarding environment, they tend to repeat those behaviors. And so when I watched my dad have little coffee cans of nails and bolts, suddenly I saw him repeating what he saw his dad do. Now, my dad wasn't as studious to hammer out smashed nails or what have you, but incredibly resourceful. And so to this day, he has like every different size of nail. You would think he has like a storage that's like a Home Depot unit. You need some bolts, you need some nails or whatever. Dad's got them in all different sizes. And my dad is super organized. He has them all labeled and they're all in like matching crates. And it looks like a Pinterest garage. And it's amazing, but it's got all the stuff. And do you really need all the stuff? And the answer is no. For example, I'm sitting on a chair right now that I put together. I bought it and it came in a box, and then it has one of these star bottoms to it, and then it has casters on it. And so it has 5 casters, but they sent me 7. Why did they send me 7? It only has room for 5. Did it think that I was going to break 2 of them? Or did it think that I was going to lose 2 of them? I don't want to be ugly or anything, but once the chair is on the ground, chances are that it's going to get up and run away and lose some of its casters are kind of slim. The chair is going to move in 2 or 3 feet of where it started. It's not going very far. Why do I need the extra 2 casters? If this was my dad would save those 2 casters and he would get excited and say, look, they sent me 2 extra casters. How cool is this? I might be able to use these for something. And then in fairness to my dad, he's super creative. He probably would figure out a place to put those 2 extra casters. Hey, I got 2 free extra casters. Bonus me. But the reality is we end up saving and storing stuff like that because that's what we knew from our parents. So my question is, what message are we passing down to our kids and their kids and their kids? Because right now we're 4 or 5 generations deep since the Great Depression. And what's happening now is there's an era, and it's kind of scary because I'm seeing it everywhere I go right now. And it really became prevalent during the pandemic when people were staying at home. And then they were like, whoa, check it out. I'm at home. I guess I should go in that room. We all know what that room is, right? It's the room that we put stuff in. And we were decorating the house and we had an extra painting and couldn't figure out where to put it. So we put it in that room and it's a new painting, still has a price tag on it, but we've had it too long. We can't return it to the store and don't want to get rid of it. And we got a whole room full of weird odds and ends. And they're good. Like they're good stuff. And should we ever redecorate or should we ever go into the real estate business and we become like home stagers? We've got all the goods. What are we doing with them? And it's confusing when we have stuff we don't need, don't want, don't use. And then our family members think to themselves that stuff must be important to us because we took such good care of it. This is not something we stored in a storage unit, never to be seen or heard of again. This is stuff that we kept in our homes, or worse than that, stuff that was on display. We have home after home that we've gone in to clean, and there are china cabinets that are full of silver that hasn't been used in 60 years. And when we ask the homeowner, "What are you doing with all the silver?" They're like, "I don't know. My mother had it." Did she use it? No, but she got it from her mother. Okay, well, that's great. But if you're not using it and your mother is no longer with us and her mother is no longer with us and you're not using it either, why do we have this huge china cabinet in the house that we have to clean and maintain and move around every time we walk into the room because nobody is using it? And it's great if it's a display, but lots of the stuff in our homes, nobody's using and nobody will ever use it again. And so, can we get rid of some of that stuff? Because here's what's going to happen: the next generation is going to come in and say, "Oh, wow, this was my mom's. She had it on display in her living room. I tripped over that china hutch for my entire life growing up. It must have meant something to my mom." And when we talk about sentimental hoarding, what does that mean? Does that mean we're holding on to a piece of our mother because she was holding on to a piece of her mother and her mother and her mother? No, the thing is this: we come to earth and stuff comes into our lives for whatever reason. I know a bunch of stuff has come into my life. Some of it I bought, but a lot of it people gave me. And I ask myself right now, when stuff comes into my life, am I going to use this right now? No, no, I'm not. Am I ever going to use it? Probably not. Do I need to keep it? Probably not. Is it going to hurt somebody's feelings if I give it away? Probably not. Okay, so then what happens is I tag it right there. I tag it with a Post-it note, and I tag it with who I got it from. So let's say that I got this from Michelle. And so I say a gift from Michelle on this such and such a date. And then I make a little note how I know Michelle. I know her from the church group. Okay, cool. If I'm going to regift this, I'm not going to regift it to anyone from the church group because Michelle might find out, right? But if it's brand new, it's still in its box, and I've decided immediately that it's just the wrong item for me and it doesn't have any sentimental value. I love Michelle, but I don't need this thing that she gave me. And so what I can do is I can regift it for the next Christmas or the next birthday or the next white elephant gift party that we have. So it is time for us to give ourselves permission to get in control of our stuff because, like I said, this is an epidemic and it's something that needs to be addressed. So I really appreciate all of you guys. I love you guys. I really appreciate these times that we're able to spend together and the conversations that we're able to have. Please leave your notes in the comments below. And then when I get a few free minutes, I'm going to jump back in and answer as many of these questions as I can. Please know you are not alone. Please remember that you are enough. All right, you guys take it easy, and I will see you again